yeah, that music always gets me pumping for the beginning of the Tuesday Channel Audit live stream with your host, Rob, here at vidIQ. And I am extremely, extremely thankful for all of you who are turning up to watch us share some of our wisdom, some of our knowledge, some of our entertainment for you over the next couple of hours that will hopefully help you grow your channels and take your YouTube channel to the next phase. Welcome, everybody. It's Thanksgiving week in the US. Thank you all for thanking me for Canadian Thanksgiving, which was 6 weeks ago. I don't think anybody ever remembered, but here we all are. And let's have some more thank yous from all of our guests joining us today, starting with Dan. Hey, Dan, your surprise face as I bring you online as always. What are you thankful for, Dan?
I am thankful for Canadian Thanksgiving because that means
Great.
I get to take part of this week off and you don't. So you're going to keep everything ship shape and I get to go have some dinner.
Wow. Wow. Awesome. Brilliant. Yeah, I'm meaning to talk about HR about this because I'm not sure if they gave me Canadian Thanksgiving off. That's a very good point. That
maybe you could take American Thanksgiving off.
Coming in spot number 3 is our regular lighting expert. He has crossed the 100,000 subscriber threshold recently and made his debut appearance on the vidIQ channel in terms of a video on demand yesterday with his excellent studio setup video. It is Ben Johnson. And Ben, what are you thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful to be here on the live stream today, and I'm also just thankful for family. I'm thankful for freedom, and I'm thankful for vidIQ.
And we are thankful for your awesome lights. We take requests whenever Ben is in the house. So if you want Ben to change his lighting setup, just shout some words, some colors in the chat right now. We'll see how we can organize. Actually, no, we give people a little bit of a requirement here. We're going to need at least 250 likes before Ben changes his lights again. So we're at 185 now. We've got hundreds of people watching. Do make sure to give us a like, and then we'll change the colors to your preference. And last but not least, because we're all on a very level playing field here as auditors in the Channel Audit live stream, we welcome the auditor extraordinaire. He is the king, the kingpin of the vidIQ, Think Media Empire. It is Sean Cannell. What are you thankful for, Sean? Welcome.
Man, I'm just thankful to be here. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thankful for God's grace this week. And man, just fired up to talk YouTube. It's an exciting season. And I can't wait for Thursday because of turkey, a lot of cranberries, stuffing, sweet potato mix, the sweet yam things with the marshmallow and like the sugar drizzle over the whole thing. I'm curious. Tell us in the chat what your favorite food is on Thanksgiving, whether it's Canada, United States, or anywhere in the world, just your favorite meal. And what about you, Rob? What's your favorite? What do you guys eat up there?
It's a lot of poutine, which is fries with cheese curd on it, which I still cannot get my head around.
And gravy, right? Isn't it sometimes gravy on the
sometimes
poutine?
And gravy as well, yeah.
Oh.
But there's also the traditional turkey as well for Thanksgiving. And so it's quite traditional. You know, it's similar to the UK at Christmas. We have a big turkey dinner, so there isn't too much difference there. It's just earlier on in the year, and you get extra public holidays, which is like a big bonus for me. Yeah, so let's see if we can get some people here talking about what they like to eat for Thanksgiving. We have idiots on the road. They don't have Thanksgiving in Holland, but surely you do celebrate Christmas or whatever is your celebration, and do let us know what you eat during that time. What is that?
Tamales?
Yeah,
you don't know what tamales are?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, you should look them up. They're really good.
Aren't they like wrapped? You take them out of the wrapping, which is like a corn shell wrapping that's not edible or whatever, and you take that out, and then inside, and there's pork tamales and cheese or vegetarian, maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty much the best thing ever.
From Kendra, we've also got Chris Johnson with a turkey and chicken is doubling up there on the meats. And yeah, what else have we got here in the chats? What are you all eating? Dude, let's pizza. Of course, pizza. Somebody's going to be pizza.
Yeah, pizza. You can't really lose there. I mean, I'm seeing venison steaks. I'm seeing
Oh, venison. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Whenever, it's a true story of this, whenever venison is on the menu, wherever it is, I will order it because I just don't see it that often. It's delicious, delicious.
So someone just
Curry
said
here.
vegan turkey. So that's like tofurkey.
Mm,
Is it shaping like a turkey?
who knows? Who knows? Oh, we got stuffing roast potatoes. Presumably, UK ASMR has made a video about this, having stuffing roast potatoes. And Viper in there with mac and cheese.
Classic.
Okay. We could do this all day, but maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should get actually onto some channel auditing. And here's how this is going to work for the next 120 minutes. But I show you how it all works in the space of just 60 seconds. Welcome to the vidIQ channel audit live stream, where we review your YouTube channels. There are 2 links in the description, one for gaming channels, one for non-gaming channels. Make sure you submit every week as we clear the form after every live stream. Channel audits are 100% free, so please don't send us any super chats expecting to receive an audit. And don't waste your time asking for one in the chat. If there are any alternative ways to get picked for an audit, such as memes, we will let you know during the live stream. If we can't audit your channel today, vidIQ has a channel audit tool working 24/7 for you. If you haven't already installed vidIQ, download it now for free. A link is in the description, and make sure to take advantage of our free 30-day trial. If you submit your channel for audit, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, our experience, and our passion as fellow YouTube creators. It's up to you whether or not you take our advice. There are tons of links to lots of useful resources in the video description. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Share this live stream with another fellow creator who may find it useful. And finally, moderators, thank you for everything that you do every single week. All right, let's do this. Man, the chat is on fire with food right now. I do apologize. I've ruined everybody's appetite for the next couple of hours. Housekeeping, as always, we are supporting Team C's currently with our super chat, so any money goes directly to that cause. They are trying to get rid of £30 million of trash from the seas by the end of the year, and I think they're already halfway to their goal. We audit about 20 to 30 channels each week, but we get hundreds of submissions, which means that we can't audit every single channel. So what I recommend you do is, if possible, bring up your channel on a second screen. And as we're talking about whether it be a cooking channel, a tech channel, a gaming channel, we're always talking about fundamentals, be it channel focus, be it thumbnails, be it your setup, which is what Ben loves to talk about. Think about how you can apply all of that to your channel. And with all of that being said, we have another, can you believe it, another special guest on the live stream today, but this one is more of a victim rather than a guest, because we are going to audit his channel for the next 10 minutes, and that person is Joe's Phenomenal. Hey Joe, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Did you appreciate all of the chat about food? Are you going to prepare all of this right now while we're auditing your channel? Pecan pies, ribeye steaks, all that type of stuff?
How much time we got?
10 minutes, exactly 10 minutes.
I could draw you a picture of some pecan pie.
Oh, well, that looks good. All right, so what we're going to do here is, as we've done before, this is an opportunity to almost do like a one-on-one audit, although it's like a 4-on-1 gang up here of Joe's Phenomenal's channel. So in the background, I'm just setting up my timer, because we always limit this to 10 minutes. So we have exactly 10 minutes to audit this channel. So Joe, if you are ready, I'm going to bring up this little countdowner, and then we're going to start auditing your channel. So once I start this timer, what I would like you to do, as I show the rest of the crew your channel, just give us the elevator pitch of what your channel is. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, Joe's Phenomenal is actually, that's my salad dressing company that I started. I'm actually a tech pro, and I'm getting out of that business, and I started moving into the food business. So I was really into health and fitness and everything else, and I started a salad dressing line, and that's what Joe's Phenomenal actually is. But then when I started the YouTube channel, I quickly figured out that just pushing salad dressing all the time on the YouTube channel is not going to get views, definitely. So I started doing other stuff that I was passionate about, which is cooking. So a lot of the food recipes that are on the Joe's Phenomenal channel include uses for those salad dressings, so I can inject them into the videos without actually trying to push product on people. But what's really grown the channel is I started pretty early on. I started doing product reviews and unboxings and stuff like that too. And the product reviews and unboxings are that's what drives the channel. That gets most of my views. And since I've been monetized, that is driving 99% of the income on the channel. So the food stuff, I love doing it, and that's mostly because it's, that's a passion of mine. But it's definitely not something that's on there to make money. It's just more there to help people out and give some assistance to people and everything else.
All right, let's get some first impressions then, Sean. I want to throw it to you, as I think this is kind of like the prime channel for you to look at as like a businessman coming into YouTube and then looking at how to leverage YouTube to grow their empire, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw a lot of questions. The channel's looks awesome, Joe. And the questions would initially be, if you dig in your analytics, how many returning viewers versus just kind of new viewers. And I think that, for building a quote unquote fan base, you want to have returning viewers. But when you're doing an unboxing or a review, the truth is a lot of people are just going to swing by. They're not necessarily looking for a YouTuber to follow. They're looking for a particular product that they want information on. And I think that's like a proper business model. I think it actually gets underappreciated by a lot of people who focus so much on, I want to build this fan base. It might not be as much of the approach, but that's something to consider. And from a business standpoint, the question would be, if it's 99% was the number you used, clear that what's generating money, what's generating impact in terms of finances is kind of the product reviews side of things, you may want to double down and focus on that to use it as an outlet and for the cooking tutorials and to mix the two. There could be the idea of separating them. The other side is that you're kind of doing both, and they do somewhat tie together. And we certainly struggle with this on Think Media, actually, of some videos attract video editors that may not want to watch a camera review, that may not. So you're kind of playing in similar waters, but I would just kind of present more thoughtful questions to say, where do you want to take things next? And do you want to maintain having both videos on the same channel? Because you might become the go-to cooking person to kind of follow. People love watching you weekly recipe wise. That might be the better personal brand play. Whereas maybe scaling like a review guy, the other stuff might be also potentially a personal brand play, but also might scale top line revenue. Which one stands out to you? Have you thought about this before, Joe?
Well, as far as return viewers go, right now, over the past several weeks, I'm at about right around 3,000 views per day, and about 200 to 250 of those are return viewers. So it's not really all that bad. It's been growing. I mean, since monetization, that return viewer number has been going up a lot. And I think it's just these extra people that are coming in are finding this other content. And it's really my older videos, and the older food videos are starting to pick up a little bit more than they were before. So that's good. But yeah, definitely I have been leaning more on the product review side, and I've been working on getting some brand deals going and some other things like that to try to rev that up more, because right now I'm pretty much making all the purchases right now, and once in a while I'll have somebody want to send something out, but I haven't really taken advantage of those too much because they don't really seem, it's usually like kind of weird product and stuff that's going to end up getting torched in a review, which I have to disclose that to people, and they don't really like that too much if I'm not going to guarantee them, happy thoughts and everything else.
I'm curious Rob's thought, because if you said about 200-300 views are return and then the rest are new, that sounds like less than 10% on return viewer.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
It sounds like it's a very heavy search-based traffic. Again, we need to know exactly what the numbers are there. And when I sorted by most popular, it looked as if it was dominated by your product reviews, in particular this Ninja blender, from what I can see. So I'm guessing those are just constantly bringing in a nice steady number of new views, but they're not. Yeah,
that Ninja Creamy video right there, that one's running probably at about 100,000 views per year right now. That's the one I just told you I just put up, and I just happened to hit it at the right time. And I got that when that product was released, and that'll go to 100,000 pretty fast.
Yeah. Just looking at the channel in general, there seems to be like there seems to be two very divergent pieces of content. Just from the thumbnails, it's either you, the hero, with a hero product, or then a really juicy shot of the food as a hero. And so, I could be wrong about this, but just first impressions, it feels like you've got two sorts of audiences here: people looking to make a purchase decision, or people looking to cook or make food from your content. And I think the views sometimes reflect that they tend to be a little bit spiky. But I think it sounds like you're already aware of this, and then it's just a decision of, do you continue to do these slightly separated pieces of content, or maybe a second channel?
There's something missing for me when I look at the food videos, and it's taken me a while to kind of see this, but all the recipes seem to stand on their own, right? It's like how to make this certain thing, but what's missing for me is why not do, and maybe you've already tried this, why not do how to make this certain thing in this certain product?
I was thinking
trying
that.
to mix these two things.
Yeah, all the ice cream videos you see there, those are, I've actually got that in the titles. Those are actually done with Ninja Creamies. And that's actually gotten me search views on all the Ninja searches, because that's how those are actually getting views. People are searching those products and they see those recipes up for them, and then they end up clicking into those too. And those have been something I've been doing recently. And if I've mentioned a product that I'm using to build that recipe, it's always gotten extra views based on that, depending on how popular the other thing is.
Have you tried flipping? Sorry.
Go ahead, Dan. Go ahead. No, I know what you're going to say here.
Yeah. Have you ever tried flipping the title structure so it's using the Ninja Creamy to make vanilla mint ice cream? And removing how to, because the title got truncated, so that's why I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. I knew that even though the titles were truncated, that they still actually produce the same. So I kind of put that off at the end. That way I was still able to target the how-to people mostly, and I would still show up and search on the other things. But I tried to do that on a couple of videos and it didn't take off quite as well. And then when I flipped the titles back around the way I have them there, they actually picked up a lot more traffic that way. So I might try doing it the other way around again and seeing if that was just because I was a smaller channel at the time.
What about using the thumbnail to do that? Like you have a blender on one side and it's like, this thing can make this thing. Like, some before or after, like maybe the ingredients on the left-hand side, the blender in the middle, and then the final products on the right-hand side. Because then people are instinctively going to know, I can make this using this because I have one of these. That's brilliant. Because just from the thumbnails, it could be just any a standard way to make pineapple sorbet, and so the distinction there I think would really help in the thumbnail. Ben, we've kind of left you in the background so far, but is there anything that you've noticed or would like to add?
No, I really like that last thought, the idea of taking the product, and this was just a thought maybe you could try, is look at whatever your most successful product reviews are and maybe revisit it with a similar style thumbnail, and then try to make a video specifically like using it to create something. I think that would be, you could get more videos out of one product basically, rather than just doing the one review. Maybe you do one or two, maybe 3 follow-ups where you actually show some different things that you create with the product. That could be an interesting way to dive into that format.
Nice use of the community tab there, I'm seeing as well, Joe. Good use there. We have 20 seconds. 20 seconds. So what else could we add that's going to be really valuable here for Joe?
Try taking a recipe and just doing something no one's ever thought of before. Take one of these products and make something ridiculous with it. I'd be really curious to see, challenging yourself what that would do.
Okay, I'll have to go back to my MasterChef days then. I competed on that a couple times and brought really weird food to try out.
All right. Oh no! Oh Oh, that's so frustrating. We're 10 minutes in and we could have jumped into more analytics, maybe a bit more on channel focus. Ben would have loved to have looked at your setup of your studio and given you more advice. But that's all you get, unfortunately, Joe. There is a reason for this because we're kind of doing a teaser, but I hope you got some really useful stuff out of that. And
I did.
We just want to say thank you very much for all of your awesome contributions in all of the live streams. We see you giving advice all of the time, and we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a pleasure getting to talk to you guys directly. That was awesome.
Thank you very much, Joe. We will see you soon. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
So
Happy
that
Thanksgiving.
is Joe's Phenomenal. And he got a very special audit there with the four of us. And now it's the opportunity for you to take advantage of just that as well. I'm looking at the community poll that we ran in this live stream asking, should vidIQ run a Black Friday deal? Astonishingly, 15% of you said no, you don't want a Black Friday deal. But thankfully, 85% of you did want a Black Friday deal. And oh my word, do we have one for you. Starting now, we have an offer which allows you a 30% discount off vidIQ Boost, which is the full package, all of the tools, the Learning Academy, for 6 months. But if you want to do the annual plan, that is 40% off plus a 30-minute audit with one of our auditors, be it Travis, Jeff, or Alexi, and that is 40% off. A phenomenal deal. Joe's phenomenal. vidIQ's phenomenal for this offer. The link is in the description. So just to repeat, 30% off 6-month plans. So you get 30% off each month up to 6 months, or 40% off your annual plan plus that extra 30-minute channel audit if you want to take advantage of it. There is a link in the description. It is for new customers only. Do make sure to take advantage of that. And also, we'll leave it on the left-hand side because if you want to subscribe during the live stream, look at that. Your name will appear there. Isn't that really cool if you haven't subscribed before? We're just going to check in with Joe's Phenomenal. I love to do this when people forget to leave a stream. And Joe's Phenomenal, nothing's really going on there right now. But oh, he's back. Hey, he's listening.
Yeah.
All right. Trying to catch you out there, Joe. All right. Let's get back to channel auditing. Right. What we're going to do now is we're going to pick the first channel that submitted this week through the form. And that channel is can I just check if this is, yes, it is this one. It is Poke Drip Drop, and it looks to me on first impressions a Pokemon channel. And I'm going to start with you, Dan, on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we got a Pokemon card unboxing channel just at first glance. This is a really interesting time to be into this hobby because I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Pokemon cards have made this resurgence in popularity seemingly overnight. And once again, people are going to stores and trampling one another over a new release of Pokemon cards to the point where stores have had to take them off the shelves. So as such, because of the demand, this is a good time for you to be collecting these, taking what you've gotten from, I see Walmart there. You give the Walmart logo in one of your unboxing videos, going to Walmart, getting what you can, and then showing off this haul that you have. So just taking a look here, I will say that video that I've just picked out does happen to be the most popular one out of the spread we're looking at the moment. And what I'm wondering about that is, let's see, opening the new, I've never known how to say the names of Pokemon anything, so forgive me, but opening new something. Yeah, premium collection. And why not what the rest of these unboxing videos, why are they not doing as well as that one? That's because that one's been around for 2 weeks and it has significantly more views. New best single prize deck.
My guesses are like it's defining where you can get these and the price of them. So those are all things that are encouraging people of, where the potential location of that is. That might be one reason why. Yeah,
because then there's another one, opening the GameStop exclusive Pokemon something. That's another one where you took the store you went to and you opened it, something exclusive. There's probably a limited amount of these being made. You got your hands on one, and the Walmart case might be the same thing too. You have this exclusive thing that was hard to get, And that, for any channel that's doing these unboxings, these collecting of rare things, that could be the superpower here, because that's you taking the time to understand your niche so well that you know when these launches are going to happen, you know what stores you need to be at, where you need to be doing your research, and you're doing a lot of that work that is going to eventually translate to value to the people who watch you. Because in the video, I assume you're also saying, so I got these at Walmart, thanks, thank goodness I set up this alert, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then you're opening the boxes and there's all the satisfaction because you're showing all these rare cards and so on and so forth.
Sean, we all know that you're a secret Pokemon card collector. Or that is the rumor and the secret on the YouTube, Entertainment Weekly rumor stuff. What do you think of this channel?
Well, I've got some thoughts on the thumbnails, but while I'm actually not into Pokemon, fun fact, I was super into Star Wars CCG, Star Trek CCG, Black Border on the Star Wars Original New Hope packs, Magic the Gathering. And I think in those days, I actually got into a little bit of Pokemon and some Dragon Ball Z stuff. And I regret, because I sold it all to get a few $100s to buy a camera, but it seems like everything turned out all right because I bought that camera.
It turned out all right, actually. Yeah.
So, but my biggest thought here is I think it's a great topic. I think, it's a popular niche. I just think on the thumbnails to simplify them down. And, Nolan on the Big Media team recently studied Netflix, and there was some reports on Netflix, and there's kind of like this law of three. Like, you only really want three things going on in your thumbnails. That could be like maybe one word, one card, maybe just the part of a card, and maybe your face, or maybe and I see you're sometimes in it, you're sometimes not, but some of these thumbnails seem like they're trying to do everything. Like, I mean, can't touch this in the upper right hand corner, there's a city behind it, the card's pretty busy too, there's words on top of it. And there's just a lot going on. And if thinking about how like less is more, maybe a gradient background in that one would already remove the city, which is very visible, and then maybe it would be cleaner and pop more. So I'd be just thinking about, and then success leaves clues. So I'm sure of Unlisted Leaf, and it's not about comparing ourselves to like other creators in the space, but like, what is it about their thumbnails? And they're simpler, there's maybe the color selection, the amount of things going on in the thumbnail. And I think that gives you a greater opportunity for reaching a new audience, because the content people are going to want to see, but you're going to want that click-through rate to get suggested, reach a new audience. And I think you could see a lot more hyper growth by addressing thumbnails.
I also noticed when I sorted by most popular, these are all the most popular thumbnails. And the difference here is that the creator themselves are not in the thumbnail. It's just a close-up of the card and maybe some text. So maybe that's something to consider. But again, I agree completely that the kind of random, almost Windows desktop screens, desktop backgrounds are really quite distracting. I think the leader in this space is Leon Hart. I think he is also a Pokemon card collector with millions of subscribers. And so if you want to do a bit of thumbnail research, then he might be the person to look at. If I can just show his thumbnails a little bit. They're all right. I feel as if it could be a bit of improvement there. But as we can see, most of these, the background is generally quite plain.
Plain background, I think, is a simple solve, as opposed to a city or some kind of texture, or even a blurred out group of people, because there's still just so much happening. In most cases here, it's just a little bit of a blue gradient, it looks like, on a white wall, or just kind of a white wall with a slight kind of vignetting that sort of fades off.
And I think definitely the cards do pop a little bit more, but Leon Hart's been doing this for a long time. He has 1 million subscribers, but that could be a reference point for our channel here. One final thing I will say is, for a channel with 200 subscribers, they're getting some pretty healthy numbers. I think that they're starting to build a nice community. I'd be more than happy to be getting sometimes hundreds more views and subscribers for a channel which has been creating content for, let's see, about 6 months. So I think some good progress there.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I want to say about the fonts real quick, because we did talk about thumbnails. I think that's where this channel might be struggling the most, because they have the right idea. They obviously have everything set up to find these cards, which is, I think, the most valuable thing to your audience. That's what your audience is going to be the most interested in, is like, how do I get these for myself? You have that part down, it seems. These thumbnails, I would pick a font, and I would continue to use that font throughout. And I'd pick one, like the latest one you use that says error. That's a good, nice, big, thick, readable font. The one before that, I have no idea what that says. And
Energy Wonder?
Huh?
One
Energy Wonder. Okay.
Energy Wonder.
It's not only a busy font, it then has a dark shadow. It's also got an interior white stroke, and then the colorway is kind of interesting. But yeah, it's a busy font on top of 3 other tweaks to it, as opposed to keeping it a lot more minimal, so it's a lot more clear.
You can't see the energy that the arrow is pointing at either, because you tried to get like the whole card in. There's nothing wrong with taking that card, zooming in, and making the one thing you're trying to point to a lot bigger. Even you still use the arrow and everything, but you know, if your thumbnail is about this one energy bit on the card, or this one thing on the card, show the thing on the card, like, and let the title and the thumbnail complement one another in that way. Because it right now is just like a vague card, and we see an arrow pointing at something, but it's impossible to read. So these are the things that as you grow and learn and make these tweaks, you'll notice a big difference in your click-through rate. Big difference in your click-through rate.
To your point, Dan, I think one of the things that I like to think about with the thumbnails is like, whenever you're designing it and you're in, Photoshop or Canva or whatever website you're in, you're seeing it very big, right? Yeah. But you have to take it back to that context of, actually what I like to do is just hold out my hand and look at my thumb, my actual thumbnail, and then try to shrink down the screen that I'm working on to almost that size, because it's going to be close to that size when you're on a phone or browsing online. And it's like, would I be able to understand what's going on or be able to read it, at that smaller thumbnail type size? Or would it be, difficult? It's just that's a good concept with logos. It's a good concept with your font. And I think if you just, if you go to create your video thumbnails, just shrink it down and be like, can I understand what's going on? Is it legible? Is it readable? Does it make sense?
We are at 300 plus likes, so please now send in your color requests so that Ben can update his studio. In the meantime, we are going to look at our first gaming channel that submitted this week, and it is Martin 80 Nick. Dan, I look at this channel and I think this is about a game called Beam NG. I think.
I've heard of this game.
Yeah, some promising numbers here as well. 400 subscribers, view counts fairly good. But then I look at the posting schedule, and there's been a huge gap between videos. So, not a huge gap. You're talking about 1 or 2 weeks per video, maybe.
Yeah, Beam definitely has it's a pretty strong community, I think, because we've seen these channels before, and some of them do very, very well. Given the size of this channel, just under 400 subscribers, and the views that they're getting, that's holding true. I mean, they're doing, I think, very well, views to subscribers. Pumpkin color. There you go, Ben. So the question becomes, where do you take this? And you have a lot of data here. So what you need to be doing is going into your analytics and identifying the types of videos that are driving the most views. So you must have, just by looking at some of these titles and some of the things you're doing, you must have in your mind some categories, right? Some ways that you categorize these videos. Like, these are stunts and these are reviews of cars. I'm just kind of making some of these up. Go into your analytics. You can actually make groups. It's kind of a hidden feature, but if you look up YouTube groups and analytics, you can find it. And you can start to group together the different types of videos and then look at the data side by side and determine what, out of all the different types of videos I make, what are the ones that are driving the most traffic? Because that's the kind of research I would be doing here. I think that just looking at the spiky view counts, where you have some, like there's a video there with almost 6,000 views. It probably is a short because the length of it. But we have longer form videos with 700 views versus 200 views. There's 1.8K there. Beam NG car shuffle. That's interesting too.
I'm just checking to see if they are shorts or landscape short videos. Is my internet going to allow me to do this?
Yeah, we just need to see the frame. Oh,
yeah, I think they are landscape short videos.
You can definitely find a lot of success making videos in landscape that do not hit the short shelf, but are still, they still do very, very well, and they're monetizable, which is great. So you have a lot of data here. So I would work on 3 things: identify your strongest content. Let's get your thumbnails. They look good.
I think they're good. Yeah, I think they're of good standards already. Yeah,
let's clean them up a little bit. I say they need to be a bit sharper in some cases. Just some cases. You can boost the saturation a little bit. It's a video game, so make it nice and bright, colorful. But again, these are just tweaks. And I said 3 things, and the third thing is escaping me. So let someone else talk for a sec.
Just in terms of thumbnails, like I feel as if the pitch of this one is really well done. Motorsport's done wrong, and then a big harvester almost doing like a wheelie. I feel as if there's quite a lot of intrigue there. And then we have other shots where the car is in motion, or like in the air, or doing something. There's good positioning of thumbnails. So I think they're already at a high standard, but I think, as you say, Dan, just sharpening up the edges a little bit in terms of making them pop a little bit more and that type of thing. Was that enough to make you remember point 3?
No, but this game is a playground, and most games can be used as a playground. What I mean by playground is you're playing this game, but you're not playing it the way it was intended to be played, as far as the audience is concerned.
Yes.
So take the game that you're playing and do experiments with it, and film yourself doing those experiments. Make that your content, because that's the kind of thing that keeps people interested in the game, right? Like, you as a content creator, even if you're not doing tutorials, you're doing a service to the viewer, because people who play these games are looking for videos to inspire them to continue playing the game. So that, just by entertaining them with the game, is the service that you're providing them. So be thinking of ways that you could break the game, or just do something no one's ever thought of. And it looks like you've done that. Oh, that was the third thing. You're not doing enough. If you can get to at least 1 video a week, get some consistency in your schedule, I think that'll really, really help.
We would assume, although this is not always the case, that shorter videos can be done relatively quickly. And we know that some shorts channels push out 5 to 10 videos a day, because you don't really need to worry about allowing videos to breathe. It's sometimes almost about quantity, especially when you're with momentum. I feel as if there's more opportunity here. Yeah, as you say, Dan, commit to consistency, 1 video a week up to the end of the year, to keep your audience engaged and hungry for your content. That is Martin 80 Nick. All right, Ben, we've sort of been holding you back a little bit. You've been on the starting grid, ready to pop with the first channel that you're going to take a keen eye on, and that is Adrian Reddick's The Tech Dad Journey. And what we like to do when you're in the house is actually look at the video itself and critique how their studio setup is. So what I'm going to do now is switch to Ben's screen. And then, so Ben, you're now in control. So if you want to play a bit of it, skip around the track, by all means do so, and tell us what you found out so far about Adrian.
Yeah, of course. I think that I just wanted to, going through the different submissions, I try to select ones that, like, sometimes there's submissions where they look, their setup already looks awesome. And then sometimes there's setups where it's not very close. And then there's setups that are kind of in the middle. And I would consider Adrian's to be looking overall pretty good. And I think there's just a couple of little minimal changes that he can make. And maybe if you're a creator who is sort of at this stage as well, maybe you'll find some value from this. But all in all, like, it's nice. We can see, it's good. But a couple of things that I initially saw was the framing. We're looking at him pretty much in the dead center there. And, that's maybe not the best place to be, as well as the really the background. There's not a lot in there that would suggest that it's a tech channel, right? And so it's like just placing something in the background. You do have the mic and frame, which actually does work for that, but maybe placing a few objects in the background that would just communicate subconsciously to the viewer, like, that they've arrived, that they're at their place, where it's like, hey, this guy instantly, I feel like, he is, doing that type of content that I'm into, or that I can find solutions there. And then just, the yellow is a lot. It's nothing wrong with it, but I think if you could add in just a little bit to it, nothing too distracting, I think that would help a little bit. As far as the lighting goes, I think that, again, it's nice that we can see everything. It's, we're not really struggling there, but sometimes blasting yourself with the light is not always the best way to go. And so I would maybe suggest raising the light a little bit and angling it down, maybe even just moving it a little bit more to the side so that the shadow of the mic isn't hitting you. Maybe move it to the other side. And that might be a better place to end up at. Otherwise, I think that like it seems like the editing is good. As I was kind of like watching through, it looks like he's not staying on one thing for too long, kind of doing some different jump cuts and things like that. Again, you want to keep your eyes more along the rule of thirds. So just if you raise it up just a little bit, picture that there's little lines in your frame, it will be looking real nice. And that's just something that I think a lot of creators, if we become intentional about this stuff, it can really make a nice difference.
You know what was driving me nuts at the very beginning, what you were showing me there, Ben? I'm desperate to know what's in that picture frame.
Right.
It's really bugging with my symmetry. It's like, oh, I just can't
Yeah.
see what it is.
Right.
You know,
And it's just
really
those
distracting.
little things, right? Like just either removing that or covering it up with something or bringing it in more, so we can see just little things that can make a little bit of a difference. Again, it's not like there's anything majorly wrong with this shot or anything like that. You can tell that there's intentional effort that's been put in, which is awesome. But I think just some other minor changes as Adrian is continuing to, hone in on his skills, I think that could make a nice difference.
Let's move back to the channel as a whole then. They're approaching 500 subscribers. It looks as if they are, I would describe them as an everything tech channel. It's not just about Apple, but it's also about microphones. It's also about headphones and monitors. So they're covering a lot of things in the tech area. And I guess, given how many tech channels there are out there right now, that can be a little competitive. Just general thoughts, Sean and Dan, if you've noticed anything as Ben's been looking at the channel.
Well, I noticed the thumbnails kind of change as we go down, but I do like the idea of picking a pillar color of yellow, and then he tied it all the way into his background, into his avatar, and into his thumbnails. But then I definitely would see maybe that's been a recent change, or over time, eventually it could become redundant. So I do think it's cool that he switches up the thumbnail background color, but it can be a way to distinctly show stand out, which is nice. I also just think I agree, just encouraging the viewers and other tech channels too. There is a ton of competition, but man, tech is just so massive. And so, I'm noticing there's I've never even heard of it before, but there's an alternative to Microsoft Office, some kind of a logo. You start covering just these niche things in tech, software, consumer electronics, and there's still not enough creators. CES is about to be back in person in Las Vegas, where I'm based, in a couple months. And when 200,000 people descend on Vegas and there's thousands of booths, you start realizing just like how many different companies there are. So I'd just say that, of course, you want to find a way to be distinct. But I think one of the opportunities to be distinct is, what is that niche software? What is that mic that a lot of people are looking for, but not a lot of creators have covered, and potentially steering away from, even stuff Ben covers or I cover or Sarah Dici or whoever. Sometimes you hear a lot of the same people covering the same thing. So your opportunity is that more niche company that's kind of underground a little bit, and you could really blow up covering that. So it's kind of a strategy that I think about for tech, because it's not slowing down. It's only speeding up. More computer companies, more RAM companies, more software companies, and more stuff happening with smartphones. It's such an amazing space, and it's really just getting started.
Yeah, interesting that you noticed that standout of the Office alternative and of his most popular videos. The most popular one is a comparison video on Office products, but we've also got another 3, I guess, Office productivity apps in the top 10 of results. There was also some stuff on graphics cards, but I haven't seen you produce much on that recently. So maybe that is their little power corner in the tech area.
Well, and just to emphasize that, like, for example, you would think that everybody uses Apple if you watch just some of the top tech YouTubers, because like everyone's talking about iPhone 13, everyone's talking about M1 chips. it's not even close to true. Like way more people use Microsoft Office by a landslide than people that use whatever else. And so it just is something, when people zig, you should zag. And there is something about how big that world is. There's like kind of a hipsterness to certain tech. Like some people wouldn't even talk about Office. Like, oh my gosh, I'm an Apple creator. I would even use a Microsoft product. I would only use Apple. Meanwhile, there's untold amounts of opportunities going deep into different types of niches.
Absolutely. So that is Adrian Reddick's Tech Dad journey there.
Before we go, I mean,
yeah,
let's not overlook the sheer amount of views that the computer component videos have. I mean, all of those appeal to someone who's like building a PC. And I would say right now is a really good time to be doing that kind of content, because chip shortages and everything else, all these parts are way more expensive than they used to be. And just looking at the more recent videos, it looks like you've gotten away.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that, Dan. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's a much more complex side of tech. But if you think about it, a lot of people, when they think tech channel, they think phone reviews, tablets, microphones, all these fun products that are great around the holidays. And then, there's those ebbs and flows. I think the market for people building computers and looking for computer parts and people who want to review these computer parts is probably a lot different. And if you have that knowledge, that level of understanding of these computer parts, and you can offer a lot of value there, I might reconsider doing those videos, because, I mean, those weren't that old. They had a lot of views, and maybe you found an underserved market.
Awesome extra advice there, Dan, for Adrian Reddicks. To make sure, Ben, that we fit in your next channel, before you have to leave us, I guess we should look at this one next, which is the Scientist Reading World. So if I switch back to you again, and once, as we just did with Adrian, we're going to critique this creator's setup. So what are you seeing here, Ben?
Yeah, so I wanted to pick this one. There's a couple little things we can talk about on this channel. This video in particular, where we're using window light, so there's some intentionality there. It looks to me as if perhaps it's window light, and I think that the placement of the window light's like pretty much all the way off to the side, right? And so some thoughts, if you're doing that, or if this is a light, maybe just try to move it a little bit more in front of you. My recommendation is always to try to stand almost at like a 45-degree angle to the window. That way you can get it kind of hitting you, a little bit nicer. And then something that I saw, the background's a lot, and I get like, a lot of times we'll have smaller spaces to work in. I do like that there is some intentionality placed, because it seems like this is a channel about reading. So I get that instantly, which is great. I would say maybe just like specifically around like where his head is, maybe just kind of clear a little bit of that out so we can focus more on you. And then just watch your angles, watch how your camera is placed, maybe make sure it's level so it looks nice and straight. I went on a couple of the different videos and it kind of shifts a bit, which is fine. But those are just little things that we can forget so often as we're going to create. It's like there's so many variables, so many things to consider. we get our light and our audio and the camera, and it's like, when we're not thinking about it, like, hey, just remember, just take a little quick second to make sure your camera's straight, or, that you're positioned in a way that the light's more flattering for you, stuff like that. So that was one of the reasons I picked this channel. I think that, ultimately the background is good because there's books, but maybe there's too much going on. Yeah, those are my initial thoughts. Also, it looks like we're on some sort of auto settings as the camera keeps adjusting and going with all the movements of the arms and stuff like that. So maybe try taking a step forward into using some manual settings, so that you can get control back over your camera as you begin to do this more and more.
Awesome. Another excellent critique there of a setup. We'll have a little bit more on that in a few moments. Looking at the channel itself, Scientist Reading World, we felt as if we got that vibe in the videos. I think we also get that vibe somewhat in the thumbnails, but I think this channel suffers a little bit from, I think, the Pokemon channel that we were looking at a little earlier, in terms of a bit of chaos going on in the thumbnails, whether it be fonts that are changing all of the time, or random colors, or even sometimes just what the creator is wearing in terms of their hoodie. It's got a little bit of branding on it, and I'm kind of distracted by that almost. I can barely see the book. So definitely some thumbnail work to be used there. But 400 subscribers, view counts consistently 250 around about, which is promising. Now, hang on. Is this his most recent stuff or his most popular? Let me just check. All right. No, I'd sort of by most popular by accident. But, yeah, I think all of the thumbnail stuff is still relevant now.
Yeah, I was going to say they look like they're moving in the right direction, but because the most popular video, I think by far had the best thumbnail, with one tweak I would have made, which would have been to blur the bookshelf in the background. And that would have made everything else pop a lot better. I think they've ditched the bookshelf in the background, which is interesting. It's an interesting choice, but if it's a book review channel now, I'm not getting that from these thumbnails at all, which is an issue. So yeah, I think thumbnails are going to be a big win for this creator once they get tuned.
Now, the other question I would ask is, I don't believe these are science books per se. Those look like fiction, perhaps murder mysteries, just from a layman's point of view. So how does that tie into the, I guess, the channel's value prop? Because I'm not really getting that vibe. Yeah. It doesn't translate into every single video that we're looking at.
That does make it a little bit interesting, because I didn't even see, scientists like that. That's such a specific word for what this channel is. So you do assume it's going to be science literature.
Yeah. So publishing videos on a regularly consistent basis, one every couple of days. And again, I guess the vibe from the thumbnails and the titles is what type of books is this creator really pushing? Because I myself are into nonfiction. I read a lot of nonfiction sports. And so if I was going to subscribe to a channel, I would be wanting that channel to recommend that type of genre all of the time, similar to a sci-fi movie-based channel or similar. And again, I'm just, mostly through the thumbnails, I'm just not getting that really strong vibe. Any strong thoughts coming from you, Sean, if you've had a chance to digest here a little bit?
Yeah, I totally agree with simplifying down on the thumbnails, experimenting by maybe pulling yourself out of the thumbnails too, back to kind of that rule of 3. Once you put yourself in and a bunch of words and the book, the question maybe is, what's the hero? Is the book the hero? You holding the books, like the book recommendations, is really cool because you're holding a pile of books that are backwards, and then there's mystery there. So that one's a little more clear. But if you're going to do a book review or something, then maybe having the book be a little more front and center. Yeah. And I think, to your point, clarifying the niche, it definitely seems fiction. And it doesn't seem to be a self-help entrepreneurial nonfiction type of a channel. And so I think there's another opportunity to really blow up the characters in the thumbnail. Harry Potter, I don't know if that's too mainstream or something you want to cover, but just as an idea, like, these are iconic figures. And so you look at these channels that use influence surfing, if they're talking about Marvel MCU movies or something, and you've got Spider-Man is the hero of the thumbnail or whatever. So maybe there's characters in some of these trending books that could be sort of the hero of the thumbnail, because it's the all these different fictional characters that are very influential.
Just doing a quick, I guess, research on PewDiePie appearing, as always.
The model of these, at least for this book, is pretty similar. People sitting in front of their bookshelf, holding up their book.
Yeah. But most of the time, a lot less text. I would say.
A lot of bookshelves.
Yeah, a lot of bookshelves, but maybe done in a.
It's good. He's ranking too for that, so it speaks probably.
Yeah. Although I guess another problem is that Is this creator just reviewing the books that they read, not necessarily when they're released? Because I'm seeing that most of the other reviews coming here are from a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
that's
if it's
true.
all the same book that they're reviewing there, but it's similar to the gaming issue, whereby you may be playing a game that you're really interested in right now, but is there an audience for it?
So I think you touched on something too. We've just maybe identified part of your audience. Somebody who is looking up book reviews is going to be somebody who is interested in the latest releases. They want to see a review before they spend their money on the book. So you, as a book review channel, want to get in as quick as you can when something releases. Maybe it might be similar to gaming, where you could get on some early release lists. I mean, that would be for you to research, but I know a lot of game developers will send their games to even small content creators because they want to get the word out. And now you have early access to this game and you get to be one of the first to the punch. So that is going to be part of your whole business model as you grow as a book review channel. I think thumbnails are the biggest thing though, because sometimes like the latest one, I wouldn't know that this was a book review channel if I just looked at the thumbnail on its own. You have a gaming shirt and a Superman thing going on. I just have the context just isn't there. So that's going to be the biggest challenge. And then Rob, like you pointed out, some of these reviews might be just out of date.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Ben, I think I've actually timed that more or less perfectly for once, in that we're coming up to the top of the hour.
All right.
And you have given your expertise once again on lighting, studio setup, microphone placement, etc., because that is your day job on your channel. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about helping other content creators. You know, I've been doing, but prior to YouTube, I've been a freelancer since 2015 and learned a lot about shooting and creating and doing stuff for clients. And, you know, we even ran a social media agency for a while. And so I'm just trying to take some of the skills that I've learned and the experience that I've had doing that stuff and put it into this YouTube format where I'm able to help up and coming people who are just interested in taking what it is that they do and just leveling up in their craft and seeing some success on it.
And you have 9 arms. That's some impressive work there.
Yeah, it helps me get all the work done fast.
What was the villain in Mortal Kombat? Was it Goro, the final boss who had several arms? It reminds me of that for some reason. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ben. And we just wanted to let you all know as well, in case you haven't seen this, Ben collabed with us on a phenomenal video, which is basically, I guess, an introduction to his channel, like 5 simple fixes to make your setups better. So do make sure to check out the video on our channel and then move on to Ben's channel to get all of the nitty-gritty detail to take your content to the next level. So Ben, you're more than welcome to stay on for a little bit longer if you can, but thank you very much for your time as always. And I'm sure we'll see you very soon. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, let's press some buttons. Let's get us all back on screen. And now, Sean, I think we will turn to some of the channels that you pre-selected. And we will start with DC Studios, who have approaching 7,000 subscribers. And right off the bat, I know I'm in the right place if I am a fan of Lego, just from the thumbnails.
Yeah, I just immediate things that really stood out to me: the branding logo, the Lego logo in the upper left-hand corner, the clear niche. I think the opportunity in this niche, good thumbnails. It doesn't appear to be a fully faceless channel, but a lot of content can be faceless. So a lot of it is voiceover and hands creating content and builds. But I actually really stood out to me because you know, the channel has 6,850 subscribers. But if you go to the vidIQ stats and you look at the monthly views, breakout video, we're over 1 million views, 1.2 million views. So I was like, okay, what's happening? A lot of new subscribers coming in. Well, definitely YouTube Shorts. And so we can check out some of the most popular videos. There's a Mario video absolutely crushing on a YouTube short with that is the biggest generator of that. But there's a couple follow-up ones as well. And so I think it's a reminder of the power of YouTube Shorts, especially depending on the niche. So 2 months ago, 1.5 million views. That one's still going. But then also, I think success leaves clues. There's something powerful about Mario here. I mean, we see a lot of Mario. Like Mario is dominating Lego plus Mario, which is kind of like this idea of the niche within a niche, right? Like there's Pokemon, but what's like the niche within a niche? There's, the Legos, but what's the niche even within that? And I think that clearly he's already executing, and I'm sure more Mario stuff's coming out. But I would be thinking about following up, just doing more of the same, because clearly it's working. And I think there could be some massive growth if he continues to ride this wave of views. Dial in shorts, more, and then we start looking, obviously the shorts kind of example, Jake Feldman or whoever, even at a smaller piece of that success. If that's the angle you're going, now brand deals, now maybe getting the attention of Lego, because if you can keep sustaining those million view type, or even half that, 500,000 view type videos, then that's definitely a wave to ride.
There is somewhat of an irony in that most of these thumbnails will never be seen because they're YouTube shorts. YouTube seems to be on a targeted regime of trying to make sure that if there is a custom thumbnail on a short, you will never see it, especially if you're on the mobile app. It just shows you a freeze frame from these. I'm just wondering, Dan, in terms of these shorts that are doing really well, do we think that maybe some of these could be repurposed as short landscape videos? Still less than a minute, but they're very, very similar format, but trying to appeal to the non-shorts playing audience, perhaps?
That is exactly what I was going to say.
Yay.
The thumbnails are so good. All of the marketing you're doing with your titles and thumbnails is great. So test it. Take the next time you think of a fun short, like, when you do X with Mario or whatever it was, because that was one of your most popular shorts, was like when Mario wears Luigi's hat or something like that. That's the kind of thing. When you title your videos like that, first of all, let's also make it clear that this is, I think, a more expensive part of the Lego niche, because it's Nintendo, it's electronic, and it's the licensing. I think these sets are just more expensive, so there's a higher barrier to entry. So you have these things, and now you're experimenting with them. So when you say something like when Mario wears Luigi's hat, the viewer instantly gets a question in their mind, like, well, wait, what happens when you put Luigi's hat on Mario? Does anything happen? And maybe something does, maybe something doesn't, but that's the point. Now you're going to explore that. Keep experimenting, and the next time you think of one of those experiments, try it in the widescreen format, because then your awesome thumbnail is going to get seen. It's going to appear on a different section of YouTube, and that could be to your benefit, especially if you start to build up a lot of returning viewers. And if it doesn't work out, you still have the footage. You can always mix it back down into a vertical or square video and re-release it as a short. Nothing wrong with doing that, maybe unless the first one. But test that, because we've seen it work time and time again.
And another encouraging sign is that they're much longer form content, 9 minutes here, 9 minutes there, 3 minutes there, 4 minutes. The view counts aren't necessarily too bad. They're not completely tanking. But I'm wondering if there might be a better middle ground, if they are going to make longer form content, perhaps maybe target 2 or 3 minutes in length, and because it would keep the same sort of editing in those videos as well. But I think lots of encouraging signs here, and things definitely to test going forward. And is there something that we can maybe tie in here with the holiday season? The giving of gifts. Maybe Mario is going to be the perfect thing to recommend to your audience as a gift. So that is DZ Studios. The next channel we are going to look at comes from our Twitter community. And Daniel, our community manager, asked for one of the most favorite comments that a creator has received on their channel. And I'm just going to leave this one here for a little while. It was one that Commander Panda received. And the commenter was this person called Keith. And as I understand it, this gamer, who is 58 years old, has eyesight issues. And I think the comment surrounds around the fact that most streamers and gaming channels are more interested in settings that are just going to help gamers play the game faster or with more frame rate, etc., etc. But I believe Commander Panda had a video which was focusing on the accessibility of the game and making it more accessible to perhaps gamers who have eyesight issues. And I think this was a commenter that was very thankful for the creator's video. And it's those moments where you feel as if you made quite a significant difference, an impact on a viewer's life or perspective or values. And so I thought that was an awesome comment to see. And so Commander Panda, because of that awesome comment, we're going to take a look at your channel, which is, as we can see here, about games and stuff. So Dan, I'm seeing again a mix of shorts, but also some Battlefield 2042 stuff here as well. What are your first impressions?
Yeah, I always have to try and overlook the shorts.
It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it makes a mess of a channel, does it? It makes a mess of a channel canvas, doesn't it, for us?
Yes, I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they're experimenting with shorts. It looks like they have a lot of success with certain ones, and they are also then doing the long form content. I guess my question would be, and I wouldn't know this without just taking the time to watch all the content, but my question would be, is the long form content just a longer version of the short form content? Meaning, would someone who watches a short also then be interested in the long form content because it's just the same thing expanded? You know, that's kind of the balancing act with gaming shorts channels, because if you can convince people that, like, hey, if you want more of this content, you want to come back to my channel, like, that's what you're going to get, you know. And if they came from the shorts side of your content, which was totally different than the long form content, they might give it a try, and then if they don't come back, YouTube doesn't recommend the long form stuff to them. But just looking at the long form content, let's see, are we seeing the same game, or is it kind of bouncing around a little bit?
I think we've gone from Escape from Tarkov, New World, and now I think we're into Battlefield as their latest game. So they are jumping games a little bit. I don't know if they're similar genres.
I don't think they are. I think New World is an MMO,
right,
and not like a first-person shooter. So that is going to be a bit tough. That's a pretty hard pivot. So you start to build up momentum with one of the games, and then you pivot away from it. And now all those folks who started to come in from that game aren't watching anymore. And so when you do that, you're constantly like rebuilding your channel in these little short bursts. And you might retain a few viewers over the course of a really long period of time, where you'll see people who just like you for you. It doesn't matter what you do. They just love watching you. But for the most part, like the vast majority of your audience, you might have really high attrition when you do that.
So sort of about the most popular, they had some success actually with looks to be graphics card tests or setup for different games, which is actually long form content as well in some cases. 3 weeks ago, these NVIDIA control panel settings, 5,000 views. That seems like something worth digging into and investigating a lot more.
I would be investigating more into that comment that they received too. Maybe this, accessibility settings are something that are not covered, and maybe you could be helping a lot of people by really diving in to the different accessibility settings of all kinds of different games. That could be the through line in your content when you switch between different games.
Nice. Anything else we can spot here, or do you think Commander Panda's probably got enough to be tackling on his channel with?
I don't know if Sean has anything.
Agree with all the thoughts. And this your sweet spot, Dan.
Yeah.
I do like games.
I sometimes have the same feeling when I'm hoping Dan's going to cover this one, because he knows what he's talking about with games. So what we'll do, Sean, is we'll move on to one that you picked, which was Ben Rowland's Honest Tech Reviews. He has 6,500 subscribers. So it's a good channel growing in a tech space, lucrative time of year. What are your observations on this one?
Yeah, I kind of brought this one up too, not knowing what one of Ben's channels, the other Ben, was going to be. And it was just this idea that, again, there's massive opportunity in tech. I mean, this channel is really quality videos. If we click on one and look at maybe that new Samsung Galaxy, there's kind of that MKBHD pan early on, and on showing off the phone as soon as it opens, voiceover over. So the thoughtfulness and just the quality of content, and maybe it's this idea that I think if you work on your videos and you tell a good story and you honor people's time, and that you have the opportunity to experience such a long tail of success obviously I'm sure he'd want to have more growth, and that is going to happen. But I mean, if you put out quality, I really believe that cream always rises to the top, no matter how many cups of coffee you pour. And so,
as usual, my internet is terrible, but I'm just scrolling over the timeline, and you can see there's a lot of B-roll into this, and a lot of.
And then I thought it was also interesting. He plays guitar, so we can see he has those guitars in the small thumbnail as you're scrolling. He, if we click back, he does a guitar. He does a Halo unboxing of the Halo Xbox, Infinite Xbox Series X, and it just is a musical soundtrack of his own guitar playing, and it cuts to him playing guitar while he's doing the unboxing, which it's actually something I've never seen before. And this thought of, while a lot of similarities are here, he's bringing his own personality, his own flavor. You can see the guitars in the background of the thumbnails. He's got a clean eye for aesthetic and different things like that. And so as far as the channel review goes, I'm curious maybe some of your thoughts, but I just thought it was a kind of a cool example. And I suppose we could check the stats out and see how things are going. To your point, and for everybody listening, to add value, we're in the heat of it now, but you're absolutely right. Lucrative time of year. What are the deals? Are you going to do a Black Friday stream or some Black Friday content, Cyber Monday, tech deals this holiday season? Follow Google Trends a little bit about what are some of the things to cover. Comparison videos are huge. Here's a power tip that we haven't talked about much. We just learned on Think Media. There's, of course, the versus video, but we're now learning the 3-way versus video. So if you can do, we recently did Sony ZV E10, ZV1, and A6400, and compared 3 different things, because a lot of people might find themselves in that situation. And when you think YouTube is too crowded, especially in something like tech, you start getting that niche, and there's just still not videos on all of these types of combinations. What are 3 cameras you could compare? What are 3 different guitar pedals you could all compare? What are 3 different massage guns you could compare? What are 3 different exercise bikes? The Peloton, the Amazon one, and then the new one from Bowflex. It's like, and so just thinking about what's a unique angle you could bring to what's seemingly saturated. We could complain all day about the competition, or we could get creative and get to work. And so I thought that's a good channel. And I think if Ben just keeps going, I think growth is going to continue.
Now, usually we might be suggesting that a channel would want to niche down on a particular type of tech. And I'm seeing there are some spiky views here, especially when they've been covering the new M1 Max MacBook that's come out. We're looking at tens of thousands of views in some cases. And then they go back to the Xbox, PlayStation 5, we're down to the 400s, 500s, 600s. What do you reckon? Should we be suggesting this channel niche down? I kind of feel as if this channel is starting to develop a core community by, as you said earlier, Sean, the aesthetics, the editing style, I guess the tech quality, very similar to MKBHD. I watch all of his videos on any topic because of him and his creative skills. Do we want to maybe temper down this a little bit for Ben Rowlands, or do you think we should just let him fly free as a creator in this space?
I don't know what you think, Dan. I mean, I think to me, it feels early, and I do think there's power. It's powerful to be niched, but the theme is clear enough to me. One other thing I just want to encourage viewers as well, and it's cool to see Ben Rowlands here. It's great to see you, and it's awesome to be reviewing your channel, to see him in the comments. I think if you go to stats, Rob, I just want to shout out respect to just sheer hustle. I mean, if we go down to the uploads, 18 uploads. And so that it just takes real work. And I think it's just that reminder, not only real work, but work that's on top of quality. It's one thing to just lob out 18 videos. It's a whole nother thing to like shoot B-roll or play a guitar soundtrack while you're doing the Infinity Xbox. And so I can just, I want to encourage everybody watching too, that this stuff takes real work and it takes real hustle. And of course you got to, rest and pace yourself. But there are times when you kind of got to sprint, and everybody here at vidIQ knows what it's all about: shoot, edit, upload, sleep, eat a little bit, do it again. And I just want to encourage everybody watching that maybe you're feeling tired, you're feeling fatigued. This stuff takes work. Keep persevering. Don't quit. And massive respect to Ben for the hustle he's putting in and keeping quality high.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to be like, oh, you definitely got to go and just cover Apple, because the other content. I mean, there's an Xbox video that's doing great up there from a couple weeks ago. So there might be a case to be made here. You know, maybe the Apple content is always going to be the flagship content. That's going to be the content that brings you a lot of new viewers. And if you keep going back to that, that could continue to help grow that base that you're seeing when you release an Xbox review of a controller, for example, or something like that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you guys think it's just too dated now, but if you were to go back to the MKBHD's like history, you know, the oldest videos and see how that journey kind of progressed, I mean, that road may be laid out, and it could just be something worth looking into.
One final thought, and we may never be able to speak about this ever again. The likes to dislikes ratios are intriguing, especially on the MacBook ones. I don't know if this is because it's a controversial opinion, or unfortunately it's trolls who are doing this, who are just like disagreeing with your argument, you know, without really watching the full video. I'm just curious why that might be, that certain videos have a slightly less likes to dislikes ratio. But of course, people are going to be aware of this time next week, probably. And YouTube
another thought that I thought we could learn from, if we look at most popular videos, is just also seeing themes. If we scroll to the top here, I think I had noticed warning, don't buy. Okay. Then why you need to buy as a second one. Now, if we go all the way to the far right hand, warning, don't buy iPhone 13. And then it's why you need to buy the Xbox
It's
Series
good spot,
X.
that, Shaw. Good spot. Yeah.
And so the huge problem with the PlayStation 5 digital edition, and those polarizing titles also, and some of those like that why you don't need to buy the Xbox Series X, people were pretty unhappy about that one, but it also got 74,000 views. So I think it's just kind of sometimes stepping out and having polarizing titles, polarizing angles. Though that's kind of a title, if you will, formula. A little bit definitely different than search based, more on that suggested base, that more like I gotta click, I'm curious what's on the other side of that. And I think that's an interesting thing he's been doing. And Ben says, actually, he's here, he says totally they were trolls, the videos get targeted by fanboys. Wow. Which is sad to see.
Yep.
Well, their power has now been disarmed, so you don't need to worry about them anymore. Final thing before we move on, the one thing we haven't talked about at all really for this channel is thumbnails, because they're just pretty awesome, aren't they? We don't know where else we would go with them to keep
top tier,
the very high quality of the thumbnails. All right, we're going to move on to the next channel, and Dan, I think we're picking this one because they got savaged a couple of weeks ago, and so we thought we'd give them an honest and genuine channel audit to help the homeless Scribbalo. What are your first impressions of this channel?
So yeah, you know, we look at a lot of channels that submit on the form, and I think we're all kind of looking for, you know, what's this channel about? And the more we struggle, so like, I don't know about you, but the more I struggle to figure out what the channel's about in the pre-selected phase of this thing we do every week, the more likely I am to skip past it, because we're going to cover that. They're going to get that advice. But what was interesting about this channel is I checked out the About section, and in the About section, they're doing something I've never seen before. They've been, since 2015, outlining how they've been just as a person going through life. You know, they were homeless. It seems like going through this About section, they have housing now, and their channel is, from what I can gather, just a place where they're kind of expressing themselves, right? So I think my main suggestion, because we've already given a lot of the advice about maybe you should niche down and so on and so forth all day long. My main suggestion for this channel is to maybe tell Homeless Scribbalo, you have a different perspective on life, right? Like, you have this unique perspective, and perhaps that could be an approach to your content. I'm not sure if you've considered that before, but when we look at like Pokemon Go shorts, and then you know, sometimes talking about ad revenue for videos and things like that, it's kind of like today I feel like playing Pokemon Go, today I feel like talking about YouTube. It's just kind of the today I feel like doing this channel. But is there ways that you can take the things you feel like doing and tie them into your unique worldview, your unique perspective?
So potentially there's a very powerful, possibly very vulnerable story and journey to share there, if the creator is willing to do that. We don't want to pressure them to do something they don't want to do.
Right.
But there's probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who are watching videos who may have similar feelings or stories that this creator could relate to. And as you say, the Pokemon stuff, and then there seems to be just a lot of random stuff, but the description, the about section reveals possibly something really interesting that the creator could delve into.
Yeah, and it does seem like they're willing to share based on that, profile they basically set up in their about section, just that journey. So the about section to me was very interesting, and I thought, why isn't this reflected in the thumbnails and the titles? Because maybe it comes up all the time in these videos, but in that case, it's just not being reflected in the thumbnails and the titles.
So I guess this is perhaps one of the most direct these video titles here.
Yeah, it's
kind of what we're kind of alluding at maybe a little bit, and we don't see perhaps enough of that. Again, if a creator is wanting to do this, they've done it in the past, as we can see here. But is that the potential through line for the channel?
Exactly. That was that kind of content they were making in the past is kind of where I was thinking that the direction they could go. Like, from the perspective of a homeless person or somebody struggling in general, what are you doing to get by? What are some tips you have? Whatever that thing is, can you bring your unique perspective to it?
Sean, I know you're a big proponent of how a person's influence can really impact lives. What might you say to this channel if maybe in a dilemma of which direction to go for their content?
Yeah, I mean, two perspectives. One is hearing Dan kind of break down, doing a little research of the story here. I think this channel is just is a really great opportunity of kind of what Gary Vee says about like document, don't create. It's documenting. And it's just kind of a reminder. See, I'm not sure what your worldview or your vision is, but it's just kind of a reminder that like all of us are on this journey of life, and there's multiple chapters in our book, and we're only a quarter of a way into the book or a halfway into the book. And what's actually really fascinating about this channel that I love is no matter where people are on their journey, the power of jumping on YouTube. I mean, it's one of the most powerful things I show is my video from 10 years ago. So I guess what I'm getting to is I love that you've been documenting. I do think all of Dan's suggestions, being that I don't know if Pokemon Go even is your superpower in terms of what you've done so far here. A lot of people are doing Pokemon Go. You're living this journey of being homeless and what that evolution has looked like. So diving deeper into that. But also my question just be kind of what is your vision? And then an encouragement to keep being patient and persisting, which you're doing, because this is just where my mind goes is, 5 or 10 years from now, like there's a whole Netflix thing about you. Yeah. I know not going to happen to everybody, but like it's like, oh yeah. So you documented your journey and there's all of this archival and not that that's going to be your or anybody watching story, but it cannot be your story if you didn't document. And so this idea of really archiving and thinking about what and maybe what I'm after is the hero's journey. If it comes to storytelling, the hero's journey is the storyline of like the top 50 best-selling movies of all time. People want to know about the struggle. They want to know about the challenges. And sometimes we're in the middle. We're on chapter 15 and what's going to happen between now and chapter 30. And so to Dan's point, documenting a little bit more. What are the emotions? What are the ups and downs? And you're doing that, but like, what are the vlogs? A little bit of it in the present. What is that unto? Well, maybe similar to the views you're getting now, but what that could be is what is your vision for one day? And then that would be getting clear on, is it, because maybe you enjoy being homeless. Maybe that is the vision and what is like, I'm not going to assume that you're actually looking, maybe you're looking, whatever. So getting as clear on the vision as possible. And then someday people are able to create out of that what it was like being homeless for 20 years and what people don't know about it. Well, you're living that experience and you have that. But if your vision was to shift into some different reality, you've documented the steps on the journey. And it could be super powerful if you want to write a book, create some kind of a summary or something, or collaborate with somebody else in that. You're in the middle of the story being told, and us as humans can all relate kind of to the hero's journey. No matter how diverse our circumstances, we all share something in common: struggle, pain, loneliness, self-doubt, these types of emotions and challenges that we go through. And so I think weaving in some of those themes now, and then mapping it also towards what you see in the next 5-10 years, are some of the thoughts I'd be thinking about when it comes to this channel.
Powerful stuff. I guess just to step back here to try and make this relatable to all creators. Maybe you don't have a similar story to share in that sense, but in terms of a YouTube channel, what is the focus of your story? And just looking at this channel as a whole, there seems to be an attempt to tell many, many different stories rather than focusing on one where there's the potential for real power to make a difference and a positive impact on viewers' lives and perspectives. So that is the Homeless Scribbalo. We'll go from there to Discord, Dan. We are so late getting to Discord, but if you can tell us what Discord is about, and then we can look at the channel, and we've chosen from that community.
Yeah, vidIQ.com/Discord to join a community of creators just like yourselves. They're not there to spam links to their own videos. They're there to share in the experience of being on YouTube and learn from one another. Right now, we always like to look at the thumbnail channel because it's the most visually appealing channel for us to look at, right? Because there's a lot of people sharing thumbnails and then advice on top of that. So I like to go in there. I like to check that out. But of course, we talk about your channel branding. We talk about achievements that you've gained. We talk about your analytics, all kinds of conversations going on in the vidIQ Discord. And then when someone's being extra helpful, we pick them out at random, as far as they know anyway, and we review their channel. What I mean is we don't tell them we're going to take their channel and review it. So
kind of a surprise, yeah.
Yeah, so today it's Rising Drakyan, maybe.
I'm glad you tried pronouncing that because I was going to hand it over to you for that anyway.
So the question is, what is it they do on YouTube? I'm seeing a Minecraft video, so maybe gaming channel?
I'm seeing anime in the channel banner, but that's not necessarily reflected in the thumbnails. Seeing Fortnite as well.
Yeah.
So a bit of jumping around topics here. I'm just looking at the Fortnite views. They seem to be generally higher than the Minecraft stuff. Just on first impressions, though, I think there's only one, maybe two Minecraft videos.
Yeah. So it kind of comes down to the age-old advice we give gaming channels. Like, who are these videos for? Who are you trying to target? Because how to make a Glowberry Farm Minecraft title and thumbnail, very clear. Great, great job on that. But you've spent so long not covering Minecraft, the video didn't perform that well because YouTube is struggling to figure out who is this video for. Like, generally, you make all these Fortnite videos, and then this Minecraft one pops up. And so who's it going to give it to? It's going to give it to your returning viewers, the people who have been watching your Fortnite content. And when they don't click on it, YouTube goes, oh, okay, they don't like this one. And they stop recommending it to them. And now it's not getting anywhere in the recommendation system. So it sits, and nothing happens. So I know it's especially for channels that are kind of starting out, they get really frustrated. I see it in the comments. They get frustrated with my advice of like, hey, play one game or play one type of game. And they're like, that's not good enough. I like lots of games. Well, and there's ways to approach that. But for the most part, I like lots of games too. I play a lot of games. I was playing Grand Theft Auto recently. I don't play that on YouTube. I have other stuff I play on YouTube, and I play Grand Theft Auto in my free time to unwind. So you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to take something that is fun and a hobby and not put it on YouTube, not try and monetize it. You're allowed to use that as a way to relax. And that's been like my go-to suggestion, because you could do that, or you can make a whole separate channel dedicated to Grand Theft Auto. So a lot of ways to approach this. I'm just going to say, I think your Fortnite videos in terms of titles and thumbnails look great. It's these random, now it's this game at the very top. I don't know what that game is, and it's not in the title. The thumbnail's not very descript, and it's hard to kind of see. Not that the screen's small, obviously that's hard to see, but I mean the fact that the thumbnail doesn't really describe what this. I'm even bigger. I don't know what that is. It looks like some kind of claw coming up on the side. And
you're talking about this one, right?
the most hardest
one.
match.
Yeah.
But in what? And what was hard about it? And is a comeback even possible part 2? But what are we coming back from? So I think there's a huge disconnect there. And that's the kind of thing, like, think about who that video is for. Who would click on that video? And I'm not saying that to be rude. I mean, who did you make that video for? Who's it supposed to help or entertain, etc.?
You see, I kind of got the opposite viewpoint of most of the other thumbnails, in that I get the what. The what is, this is about thumbnail. This is about Fortnite, and it's a montage. But I don't get the why. Why should I click on this? What's the incentive? Whereas I think on this most latest one, you get the why. It's like the most hardest match possible, but I don't know what it's about. So I don't know if I should click on it. So going back to what Sean mentioned about a video that Nolan made recently about Netflix. On average, a potential viewer will look at a thumbnail for 1.8 seconds. That's an incredibly short amount of time. And you've got to instantly trigger something in their head of intrigue in order to convince them to click. And I feel as if there's too much decoding that's required from these thumbnails. I might take 5 or 10 seconds to work out what the video is about and why I should watch it. And by then I've already moved on to something else.
Yeah. The last thing I'm going to say, because I don't think I've ever said this before, but it was something that was a problem for me when I first started YouTube, because I was gaming. And the thing that I struggled with the most was enjoying gaming as a hobby while also enjoying gaming as a YouTube hobby, I guess. And whenever I played something that wasn't the game I was trying to play on YouTube, I felt guilt. That's just straight up. It was just pure guilt. I could be making a video right now, so why not record this other game that I enjoy? And every time I gave into that and I recorded whatever it was, those videos underperformed. And I'm like, well, I just need to stick with it for a bit. So I did more of it. Those videos underperformed. And then by the time I went back to the thing that was doing okay, those viewers had left. And it was the cycle. It just went on for so long. And the thing that helped me, and it's going to be different for everybody, but the thing that helped me was deciding that my channel is about this thing and nothing else. And then it's the matter of, okay, well, how to deal with the guilt, though? I still want to play these other games. And to do that, you need to set time aside in your week, whether it's this is the time I work on my channel or this is the time I just unwind and play games. But put it on the calendar if it helps. Set an alert on your phone. But set up a time where you do that specific thing. And it could be that it's easier to schedule out the work or it's easier to schedule out the play. Figure out what works best for you. But set time and tell yourself, I'm not going to feel guilty being away from YouTube or work or whatever it is. Just give yourself that mental break. And it's not easy to do. I can 100% relate to that. But if you give into that and you just make videos on everything you're doing and turn everything you love into a YouTube video, the work never ends and the growth never happens.
Dan, that felt like it came from the true YouTube gaming heart there. Like, yeah. I felt the energy and the passion there. Wow, that was quite a lot of channels that we've gone through there, the pre-selected ones. Let me just remind you, after Neela Mishara has subscribed to the channel, of our Black Friday deal, which is 30% off. Now everybody's subscribing. 30% off boost for 6 months as a monthly plan, or if you take the annual plan, you will get 40% off that annual plan plus a 30-minute channel audit with one of our experts, be it Travis, Jeff, or Alexi. There's a link in the description if you want to take advantage of that opportunity. But in the meantime, we're about to go random. Dan, I just love your beds stingers. We've got another amazing one that's ready and to go, haven't we? But we've got to wait for a certain guest to come back on before we play that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before you see that one.
Yeah, it is going to be a while. All right. So what we do here is we look at the 2 forms that you've been filling out over the last couple of hours, and we pick channels from these lists. So I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to be picked. So I key in the right numbers. And then if Jeff was here, he would now say the claw. I'm only going to do it once. So it is channel 210, We put that number in here, and then this is a channel we haven't encountered before. We have no preconceived impressions or thoughts. First impressions, we're looking at eBlack TV, and they are about lifestyle, culture, and technology. A pretty cool looking channel banner there. Let's see what the channel's about itself. Anybody can just jump in here. What do we think?
My initial thought was, man, if I look at the avatar, and I think the avatar could be zoomed in. General rule is that if it is a personal photo, could be as much as 80% of the circle. I do see you have your logo behind you, but I think just even zooming in a little bit more is good there. It's pretty small, but I overall like the maroon theme. The theming is strong. And when I look at the banner up top, I see the brand graphic design. And to me, it sort of feels like cultural GQ kind of an angle. Like I'm going to kind of see modern, forward thinking kind of man. You're dressed nice, so it might be what I would see in a higher end magazine. Technology, what is a beard trimming kit, like and then on culture, dress, lifestyle. But then when we look,
you're setting this all up, Sean. I see where you're going.
But when we look at the videos, well, then I think I see like the 10 phases that pass through toxicity through generations, and there's something watering a tree. At the end, you got some interviews with people. I mean, I guess I was sort of set up for where I thought it could go. It seems like it's going a different place. Now I see exposed a little lower, which is, I mean, and then fake woke. What I guess it makes me think is that, I guess the word lifestyle and culture essentially means you could talk about anything, but niching down or getting clear on what it is. I definitely feel maybe a political bent here. I definitely feel, and that's all great, but like, that's not where I thought it was going to go. And so, thinking kind of really through, what is it? And sometimes the niche is also who's the viewer, because I was also thinking like the GQ magazine reader is maybe somebody else who's like, okay, this is going to be my go-to source for looking for outfits, renewing my wardrobe. What are some cool tech gift ideas I could give my spouse for the holidays? For me, I want to be a forward-thinking man. And then, of course, the nuances of that in terms of your audience. But to me, I see a disconnect in maybe the brand, or I'm not really sure where it's going to, we're talking faith, we're talking politics, we're talking about, I don't know. And so those are some of my initial thoughts. And if you confuse, you lose. And so you're certainly getting some views. I think that if you can, and clarity is power. So if you could bring some clarity and some continuity to that, I think you'll see faster growth and more clarity in terms of people wanting to join the movement, join following you and subscribe because of some of that clarity impacting the channel.
I would love to see this brand and theming translate into the thumbnails, because the thumbnails just look as if they come straight out of like 2009, in that they're really cluttered, tons of text. The maroon coloring I think is quite distinct and unique. Having that as a theme on your thumbnails would be really strong as well to maintain that consistency. But as it is, you look at each thumbnail and it could be from a different creator every single time. It's as if the creator is starting from scratch with every thumbnail that they make. I think this is generally a podcast / live streaming channel, perhaps, just given the length of the videos here, and that they all seem to be mostly streamed from what I can see. This kind of looking at the technical sides of this, as opposed to the channel focus as Sean was talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah. Dan. This is why streaming on YouTube is so powerful. You have the option to not just stream on your channel, but to then post clips from the stream. So let's look at the very top here. There's a video that keeps jumping out at me. It's the second one here, Traveling Faith with Pastor Ramon Curtis. So it's an hour-long interview. How many short form videos do you think you could make with an hour-long video? I think at least 10. You can take it and break it up into 10-minute videos, 6-10-minute videos. So why not take different stories that are told that have like a common theme and then make those into individual videos. Try it once. Take that interview, cut one story out. One that has, if you didn't watch the whole podcast, it's okay. One that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, stands on its own, and one that you can title as such. So it wouldn't be Traveling Faith, part 1 or anything like that. The title and the thumbnail would focus specifically on the lesson that was learned in the interview, in that part of the interview. And the next one too, reviewing Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules of Life. Instead, why wasn't the title something like 12 Rules for Life with Jordan Peterson? You know what I mean? So these are like the types of things that I want the creator to be thinking about, because the title and thumbnail are just so important. And right now they're not giving me a reason to click as a new viewer. You obviously have a good base of people who are watching you, people who are familiar with you, but beyond that, someone new with no context at all, you're losing out on that click. So I think you need to focus on that, the internet at large. Start there. Like, how do I get anybody to watch this? And then start to narrow it down a little bit. But take the stories, take the lessons learned from them, and then make that the focus of the title and the thumbnail.
There's a bit of consistency in thumbnails earlier on when the channel was just launching, which looked intriguing. Title-wise, do you think KWK pre-show is a hindrance, perhaps?
Yeah,
to the messaging a bit.
It could go at the end if it needs to be there at all, or in the description. But again, that's the first thing in those titles. So it's like, well, what does that even mean? And you got to think about the new viewer. You got to think about the person who's never seen your channel before but might love it. You just have to consider them with every single title you make. And that'll change. It's a big change that was just suggested, but I think if they can commit to that.
Let's move on to the next channel. This one is going to be a gaming channel, as we have 2 forms, since we have so many gaming channels who watch every single week. So we're going to look here at Neo Defective Gaming.
Interesting. That's a cool logo.
Dan.
Those are some long gameplays.
Yeah.
6 hours.
They're not streamed. Doesn't say streamed either.
Uploaded later. I heard someone struggling with uploading. They said it can take YouTube a week to process when they upload their long gameplays.
Oh no.
Brutal. Yeah.
And I was like, is that a bitrate thing? Do you think that YouTube processes channels in different order based on your influence, if that's the kind of content being thrown at them?
It's an interesting point. Yeah.
Multi-hour gameplays from just the long tail of channels. It kind of had my brain working. I was like, huh. I mean, it makes sense too, because from YouTube's standpoint, that's a big technological thing to 6-hour gameplay that they have to process and get ready. So, and whatever bit rate that is. And anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
It's time to talk about walkthrough gameplay for the 117th time, I think.
Well, here's your competition are people who got this game before it even came out. They've already done their walkthroughs, they've done their reviews, they've done all this stuff. The trouble with Bloodborne is it's an older game, and especially from just the straight up, I'm just going to play Bloodborne kind of mentality, it's been done. So if you're going to cover this game, if there's still an audience for it, you need to be thinking outside the box. Because if I'm playing Bloodborne today, I want to keep playing it well after the story's over, for example, then I need somebody to give me that inspiration. And that's not going to be those videos, because they're, in some cases, 6 hours long. And it's just you playing Bloodborne. I've already done that at this point. I've been there, done that. It looks like the older videos too, or the most popular videos are older. And we also have to ask the question then, are these videos bringing you a lot of your new viewers today? And if you've pivoted to gaming, then you need to do the very difficult task of, difficult emotionally, of unlisting these videos.
Yeah, I'm curious how many views per hour this perhaps is getting now. Yeah, it's still doing okay. It's still bringing in maybe a couple of hundred views per day, perhaps. So I'm curious to know how many subscribers of a 500 this video and this one here, these two baby focus ones have brought in.
Yeah, nothing to do with gaming. So here's what happens. Somebody watches your different videos about reviewing strollers and car seats and things like that. And YouTube's like, hey, you like neo-defective gaming? Cool. Here's their latest video. It's Bloodborne. It's a few hours long, but check it out. And then they don't. And so again, like we said earlier, they move on, and YouTube's like, oh, geez, I thought another person who liked that other video didn't like. I'm just gonna stop recommending it.
And those baby reviews could do really well too, so they could attract a whole bunch of people that are like, I've been looking for somebody to tell me about that stroller, which is probably definitely the wrong audience, and it's maybe gives you the wrong impression of success. Might even start making money with affiliate marketing. You start growing subscribers, you start getting views, but where's it all going? And it might be getting you the wrong subscribers unless you try to pivot to fatherhood baby product reviews.
Yeah. If those videos are still something that maybe they're earning revenue off of those right now, maybe they have an affiliate link. You want to start over on a new channel and make a gaming channel, make a specific gaming channel, and take our advice here. Like, if you're going to do these long form playthroughs, save that for the live stream. Do a live stream of it. You can keep the live stream up. That's totally fine. And then if you want to try and grow the channel, take fun clips from it, short digestible clips with full of context, meaning someone who didn't see the stream could understand what's going on, and make those into the video on demand content. It looks like you just like playing through these games genuinely, which is awesome. And the way to grow a channel like that is to then take the awesome moments from the live stream and then turn them into short form content that can be easily shared, easily enjoyed by all kinds of new viewers. And then Dan, I guess recommend unlisting a long live stream after that, or even diversifying platforms and potentially doing your super long, go on Twitch with your super long, and then potentially build up the brand with the niche clips or highlights. I've been thinking about that a lot, and I think for me right now, and I think you could hear me change my opinion as I learn more, but right now it's about your preference. I've seen people start second YouTube channels just for live streams and then take the clips and put them on a different YouTube channel. I've seen that. I've seen people, definitely what you said, stream on Twitch, especially if they want to do something that's not related to YouTube, like what they do on YouTube, right? So if they play Control, for example, that's their whole channel, but they also enjoy Bloodborne, they would play that on their Twitch night, So there's all kinds of different ways you can approach it. Personally, I keep my stream, I don't unlist it. Some people unlist it and then put it on a playlist on their front page or something. I don't even do that. I just leave it. And I've not noticed any negative impact from that whatsoever. But there are some people who swear by taking their live streams down after the fact, unlisting them, putting them on a separate playlist so the people who want to watch can find them. And I've noticed my streams, when they're done, get plenty of views after the fact. And it doesn't seem to hurt anything. So I think it really is a matter of preference. But again, as I learn more, as I talk to more creators, that I could change my opinion there.
I always want to end channel audits on predominantly gameplay walkthrough channels by saying that it kind of maybe sounds a little harsh what we're saying here, and that it sounds like we're kind of bored of saying this thing over and over again. But ultimately, you're submitting your channel because we assume that you want to grow your channel and create an audience through it. And the evidence is clear here over more than a year that when you just do these playthroughs of a game title and an episode number, nobody's watching them. I mean, we're going to the most recent ones, and there's 1, 2, sometimes no people watching them. What we'd love to see is more intentional videos about a very specific thing that's really resonated with an audience. For example, this one about setting up a mixer for live streaming, which you really captured with an audience there, perhaps through search, but then you haven't capitalized on that topic going forward. You went straight into a really long series of gameplay. So whenever you do trigger the recommendation system and YouTube finds that your content was really useful for this audience, when YouTube serves up more content from your channel, there's a complete disconnect. And we just don't want to see you this time next year submitting your channel for auditing and you're on a walkthrough of Tomb Raider, the Definitive Edition, which is like an 8-year-old game. I mean, I'm playing that right now and really enjoying it, but I'm not going to do any live stream on it because only I care about playing that game right now.
Yep.
So that was Neo Defective Gaming. Let's move on to the next channel. Excuse me. This is going to be a non-gaming channel. and it is 271. And they call themselves Super Weapons, and they're a tutorial channel. So I don't know if this is going to be a channel about how to make a nuclear bomb, or like an insanely sized ship. I'm not sure. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. You know my rule here, Dan.
Oh boy.
Are you a gaming channel? Yes. This is the wrong form. Go here.
Proceeds to submit anyway.
And then yeah. So we have a strict rule. If you don't read the form, we don't audit the channel. Unfortunately, I know that must be very frustrating, but that's why we have these forms set out as they are. So let's try and find a non-gaming channel here. They are called To Go Here and There, and I think they are a channel about Amsterdam. So let's see what we have here.
They're in chat. They said yes and no, but that's the problem, isn't it?
yeah, it certainly is. All right then. So this channel has just over 1,000 subscribers. They're doing walking tours, top 10s, bike rides. I remember last time you were on, Sean, when I think we were talking about tours of cities. You recommended them getting like a 4K camera and doing these walking explorations of the cities.
Yep, definitely. I think production value, when people want to truly experience the sights and the sounds, maybe we could click on one and see what kind of that production value is of one of these videos.
I'm scared. I'm scared of doing that, but I'll certainly try.
Okay.
Come on, internet, please. Oh, it kind of works for a brief second. Okay, this is interesting.
Oh, look, very creative, and the editing is very dynamic. We got the green screen. This is very interesting. And it kind of has a combination of a faceless channel that are kind of like those channels that almost feel like something you'd watch on the plane in the back of the TV, like different things to do, tourists.
Yeah. So I assume, so what I'm going to assume here is that this creator is, this person's actually cycling. And so they're using their own footage, and then they're green screening it and talking to camera. But there's a lot of pattern interrupts, and I'm not sure how. I guess what's this video about? It's about rain and cycling through it, but it's bringing in a lot of movie references, which is interesting.
Yeah, if that's what it's about, we can't hear it obviously, but if that's what it's about, like, hey, look at all these movies that show cycling in the rain. I think the pitch should have been different in the title, and I'm trying to think of an example of what that might be, but something about, movies and how they get around the rain when they're trying to film these scenes, or why they wait for rain to film these scenes, or something like that.
There's a listicle format to this as well. I could see.
What are some of the chapters? What are they?
Oh, sorry, Dan.
Okay. That would have given us a little bit more context, but
yeah.
What are some of the best performing? The model, by the way, 5 things you must know about. See, my friend Brock did 10 things you need to know about a certain area. Like anyone moving or traveling, that's a really good format. 4K, sure enough, 4K snow in Amsterdam. 4K is interesting. Even to this day, people are just getting a 4K TV, 4K. They want to click on 4K. They want the extra crispy resolution. But in that case, it could be just something like they want to play on in the background, or it could be something that it's just, we love. I'm going to go to Amsterdam. I want to research it. That's interesting as well.
Seeing a couple more listicles popping up here as well. Top 10 bridges, top 10 things you didn't know. These feel very much like the traditional finding the best places, locations in Amsterdam. Let me just go back to what we've seen most recently.
And it looks like he cycles. So it looks like when he's doing the green screen, maybe that footage behind him is his footage from cycling. So
yeah,
I think he looks like he's got a rad personality, and like he's having a ton of fun because getting to travel, getting to cycle, shooting some footage. I think that also reminds us, I think one of the reasons why we all love YouTube, even here watching this live or on the replay, is just that we're doing what we love. Like, we're having fun. We're trying to make channels around one of our passions. How cool that we get to do this and be on the climb while also really getting out, being creative.
Now, here's an interesting thing. As we said, the 5 things you should know about Amsterdam, 5,000 views. But then after that, it looks as if it was a definite pivot to specifically cycling around Amsterdam. And I'm wondering if that went just a little bit in the wrong direction, perhaps, for the target audience that maybe collected from that successful video.
A better title for that would have been "Where to Go Cycling in Amsterdam."
Five places to cycle to.
Yeah, some of the pitches of these videos, the more recent ones, they leave too many questions, and I think people are going to skip by them. Like the 5 things you should know about Amsterdam is super clear. I know exactly what that video is about. But some of these, like cycling through Amsterdam, that seems like, Sean, kind of like the 4K, experience, right? Like you just want to sit down and watch someone do that. But there's even that pitch it's almost there, Amsterdam all year, when to visit. Okay, takes me a second, but okay, it's kind of close. Like, when should I visit Amsterdam? And then it's a 7-hour, 8-hour video. Amsterdam all year. So it's too many, there's too many variables here. I think that the titles and the thumbnails in some cases should be simplified. Like, don't walk in the bike lanes. Where, what, what bike lanes? So there's all these little things that I think could help with more views here if the pitch of the video was just, tweaked in simple little ways.
Obviously, here for this one, you want you want sort of an answer to why in the thumbnail, like a bike is about to career into somebody who's crossing the bike lane.
Yeah,
it's more traditional, but it's going to have a lot more impact. I'm just wondering, in terms of audience, it feels as if this channel was about tourism in Amsterdam, and now it's about cycling culture in Amsterdam. So it's almost gone from maybe an international audience to people who are just familiar with cycling in Amsterdam. I don't know if I'm getting mixed messages there.
Yeah, it seems like they tried to take their favorite thing, cycling, and the place they live, which is Amsterdam, and then I'm going to combine these 2 things, and there'll be a good niche. But maybe you could keep testing different thumbnails and titles and pitches, but maybe just not enough interest in cycling in Amsterdam could also be a thing.
And this is where it makes me think, like, doing even some keyword research using the vidIQ keyword research tool to determine interest, what kinds of things. And it's do I want to do what I'm most interested in, or do I'm into cycling, I'm into that. Yes, that's one side of things, but it really is, what are viewers looking for? What are people searching for? It's very search based, to be looking for not just cycling in general, but maybe tours of the city. And it's maybe also de-emphasizing cycling altogether, to Dan's point. The fact that you get to cycle, to film the footage and take it there, but it's a repositioning of the content based on what the viewer is looking for. Like, whether you're cycling or on a Segway or on a skateboard, or like they just maybe want the tour. So it's like a 4K tour of a particular tourist destination. There's your views, because people want to see, what it is. And so, yeah, trying to determine, and for everybody watching, I think it's fascinating. In business, you'd call it like market research, and you'd call it the TAM, the total addressable market. It's really just asking yourself, how much interest is there in a particular topic? Of course, YouTube's evolving, and it's not that it's about like keyword stuffing or keyword optimization as much, but nevertheless, starting with keyword research is an incredibly intelligent place to start, because you're determining a metric of actual interest in certain cities, certain parts of cities, or checking, completely eliminating that video idea and saying, okay, there's actually not really verifiable search interest in this. Maybe on the side of suggested entertainment, click-through rate, maybe I could still have something here, but at least I would need to get curiosity to pull this video up, and not just necessarily this evergreen search-based content of people wanting top 10 tips for traveling, best places to eat. And then you map the whole thing towards, if you become the #1 destination travel channel, or in the top 5 for Amsterdam, now it is a whole business model, and it is local restaurants having you come review their spot, and it is all the above, because you've really honed in the content strategy.
I did a very simple search here for Amsterdam cycling and filtered for just the last year, and this creator's videos, to go here and there, are actually ranking quite highly, which is obviously a good thing. But at the same time, as you just said, Sean, what's the total addressable market? And perhaps it isn't strong enough And maybe that's been affected by the pandemic. Right now people aren't traveling that much, and so it's not a really searchable topic in this season, and it may pick up and you may see traffic next year. But maybe just this specific pitch of cycling in Amsterdam is not something that's very popular on YouTube as of right now. So I think that brings us up to the top of and beyond the hour. So that was certainly an action-packed collection of channels that we've audited this week. I want to thank Joe's Phenomenal for being on and being our 4-to-1 channel audit there this week. And I want to thank Ben Johnson, who was on earlier on, sharing his tips and tricks about studio setup. And of course, Sean, thank you for joining us again. Very quickly, do you just want to let everybody know, in case nobody's ever heard of you before, what do you do on the internet?
Yeah, so I started a channel called Think Media. It was crazy. I just started shooting videos in my bedroom 10 years ago, talking about tech and cameras. And today, it's now just a team of creators, and we're on a mission to help you with the best tips and tools for building your influence online. So if you want to create content, whether that's, you can see on the screen, drones, audio, video editing, lenses for your smartphone, or even podcast microphones, video podcasting, we're your destination for a lot of those things. We'd love for you to stop by the channel. The channel is called Think Media, and leave a comment, because we try to pay attention. If you have any video ideas or things you want us to cover, we are trying to make videos in response to your biggest questions and help you demystify the complexity of understanding your camera and creating content. And we're also hiring, as you can see on screen there too. Yeah. Workwiththink.com. If you have been following us for a while, you can check out some cool stuff that's happening there. And we're a growing team of people that want to make a difference. So definitely check it out. Appreciate it.
And the video we were referencing earlier on, which is definitely worth a look in terms of thumbnails, this one by Nolan, really appealing thumbnail, creating that intrigue, and lots of interesting stuff there. Remember, we are approaching Black Friday, but our deal is already on. You can get any Boost monthly plan for 6 months for 30% off, or if you want to go the whole way through an entire year, you will get 40% off, plus the 30-minute channel audit with one of our experts. Let's say some goodbyes. And Dan, do you want to go first? I'll just bring some stuff on screen, or you can say goodbye to whoever you want.
All right. So Donnie Games, we'll say goodbye to you. I see Mega Fairs X, goodbye to you. Calvin, we'll see you later. My Movie Shelf, we'll see you later. Sinogard, and then Smart Baseball. We'll see you later.
And Sean, if you have chat up, do you want to say goodbye?
Cheers. Yoga with Steve. Cheers. Bye, Polly Clips. Happy Thanksgiving, Dad and Cat. See you later, Joe. See you later, Pico Productions. Hope you have an awesome holiday week. Fat to health. Ta-ta. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. If you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoy some good food all week long. And it's time. Cheers to all. John Chapman. Happy Thanksgiving. Success is the goal. Happy Thanksgiving. Massive gratitude and love sending you through the interwebs today. And so grateful to be able to hang out with you again, Rob and Dan.
Thank you very much, Sean. As always, we will see you tomorrow for our Wednesday live stream, which is on, Dan?
Wednesday.
All right. Awesome.